The views expressed in this episode are the opinions of the cast members and do not represent the views of the United States Navy or the United States government.
To our last night ashore, drink
Drink
to the
to the
foam.
foam.
Welcome back to What the Navy, part 2 of the segment with Master Chief Kraft. Here we go, Master Chief. Just keep going. You're awesome.
All right, so more on what I would put in your charge book. We'll start this off with a little bit of humor. One of my favorite things, I had a mentor. His name was Chief Gonzalez, and he was on a ship that was hit by missiles, and he watched and saw and experienced true combat, true death, and friends not make it back. And what Joe wrote in my charge book, there's things I change in everybody's charge book. I make it personal. But the one thing that never changes is don't stand too close to the sink when you're in your khakis. And that applies to everybody who wears NSUs, because it'll look like you peed yourself. I'm just saying. And I never understood why he wrote that. And it's funny, I had a conversation with him just a few months ago. I don't know how he found me. And that's the miracle about the Navy and sailors and leadership and mentorship. And I asked him, I was like, Joe, man, I ain't talked to you for like a decade. How are you doing? He's like, man, I'm killing it in Texas. Everything's great, blah, 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 blah. And like out of nowhere, I'm like, why did you write that in my charge book? Like, don't stand too close to the sink in your khakis. He goes, did you laugh? I say, yeah. He said, did you feel good? It's like, yeah, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, why would you say that? And he said, that's all I wanted you to do. Take your mind off of what was holding you down at that moment and to just spend a moment on you. I was like, bro, did you get a degree in divinity? like are you a preacher now? He's like, nah, man, I'm so crazy, blah, blah, blah. And it just made so much more sense to me, because every time I write it, I literally laugh. I laugh out loud every time. I'm just like, yeah, they're going to read that and life sucks right now. And they're going to be like, don't stand too close to this. What is this? This dude's crazy. And now I got his perspective, and I'm like, that's exactly what I was hoping for. Stop focusing on you. Stop focusing on that major issue that you can't solve. Take 2 seconds, breathe. You're a human being. Oh my God. Get some water on your khakis. Do it right there. Right there on your NSUs. Just throw some water on there, make it look like you peed, and walk out in all of God's glory and be like, boom, I peed on myself. And everybody will laugh. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? It's going to be a story and everybody's going to be okay. And that's part of don't take yourself too seriously, right? That's a hard leadership trait. We take ourselves way too serious. And that takes me into 2 more things I'll write in your charge book. And I'll start off with, should I go high side or low side? Good or bad? What do you want? Come on, Battaglia. What do you want? Good or bad?
I'll go for the bad.
All right. So your worst sailor wants to succeed. Let me reiterate that. This is good shipmatery. The worst sailor you have wants to be a good person. I don't think anybody who ever watches this will ever be able to say out loud that somebody wakes up in the morning aspiring to fail. I mean, who really wakes up like, I am going to just wreck stuff today. I am going to make everybody's lives miserable. I'm going to fail my spouse, my kids, my sailors. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to hide the admin. I'm going to lock it down. I'm going to burn it. Nobody does that. But sometimes we have some of those feelings. So what we have to do as leaders and good shipmates is we recognize each other and how we feel. Everybody knows when somebody walks into that work center, you can look at them and be like, things ain't right today. What ain't right? That's being a good shipmate. Hey, shipmate, everything good? How are things at home? And knowing everything about them and getting a way through it. And then being real enough to invest. Because that's what a good shipmate does. It's not just the conversation, it's the investment behind it. Are you going to help them? Are you going to be there for them? Are you going to give them the tools and the resources and the backing to get it done? Because in the end of the day, we're all human beings. And if we don't take care of each other, oh my God, we're horrible shipmates. So I always say that I invest in the bottom 10%. The bottom 10% are the ones who are getting kicked out, want to get out, and don't want to be there. It's about accountability, and it's about taking care of them. And what happens is the middle part, right? So maybe it's 50, maybe 60% of the rest of the sailors, they don't know what they want to be today. Do I want to be an EP? Do I want to be a P? Do I want to be a troublemaker? Do I want to be the hot runner? I don't know. Everybody comes to work different mentality every day. But if you invest in the bottom, what I've found is that middle tends to go towards being the top, where they want to take care of everybody, where they want to make sure that mission is accomplished, where they want to make sure that everybody's everything is taken care of. And if you hold that bottom part accountable, it kind of reinforces the ones who are working the 12, 16, 18-hour days, and it justifies it. And it gives them just that much more hope to make it to tomorrow. And that's important. And that's being a good shipmate. The opposite of that is, I would write in your charge book that your top performers are going to fail you. And that's because you burned them out. We rely on the few that work the 12, 16, 18 hours and invest in everything and do as much as they can all of the time, that they burn themselves out. And that's manifested in their personal lives, with their relationships, with their spouses, with their significant others, with their family, and with the Navy. How are you sharing that burden? And that's where I just go right back to where I was. If you're investing in that bottom 10%, the other 50 to 60% in the middle that don't know what they want to be tomorrow, they pull a little bit more. And when they pull a little bit more, it takes away from those who are all the way up top. And the next thing you know, you've got 80%, 90% at maximum efficiency. And that's amazing. It truly is. And you're not always going to be there. I might be 80% tomorrow. I might be 30% tomorrow. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. But I know if I go to work and I know that I have good shipmates, that it's going to work out, because somebody is going to pull the load that I can't. Somebody is going to handle the tasks that I can't solve. And that's amazing. It's the best part about the Navy. True shipmates, we don't see color, gender, preferences, none of it. All we see is a shipmate, that I know you're going to have my back. I know you're going to be Pete Tomich. I know that you are going to save my life. You've trained, you're ready, you're qualified, and you're going to make some selfless decision. But who wakes up and thinks about that? And that's why I said, when I drive onto Ford Island almost every day, going to 26 Alpha, I will generally go right to the USS Utah Memorial, and I look at that rusted carcass of a ship. And that's what I think about. What am I going to do today that's going to help somebody else's day be brighter, be better, their career rise? And that's all I care about. Now, I know it's easy. Yeah, you're a master chief, blah, 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 right? That comes with time and attrition. If you stick around long enough like me, everybody else leaves and they just finally give you a trophy. They're like, here you go, participant. Good job. But what's taking you to work? What's making you go and talk to those LPOs? I walk my decks often. And I think my sailors think I'm ridiculous. I think they think I'm crazy. I think they think I'm a lunatic, actually, because I just walk in. And I'm like, what's up, shipmates? Shipmates, how are you doing today? And we just talk. And you can see a difference in the way their days change just by that simple act. So what is good shipmatery? It's not necessarily saving somebody's life. It's not necessarily giving them some tools to be equipped to be more successful in their personal and or professional career. It's not always just being somebody to listen to. Being a shipmate means you care. We all wear the same cloth for a reason, right? I always laugh. I always say, us Navy. What does us Navy mean? It means us. It's a pronoun. It means we. It means all of us. There's no exclusion in the pronoun we or us. It means all of us. And if you can just get that one piece, that in us, we can accomplish anything. Oh my God. This Navy, this nation, wherever you live is just going to be so much better. So I probably shared way too much about what I read in Chief's charge books, but that's important because it's about leadership. It's about camaraderie. It's about morale, esprit de corps. But in the end, it's about being a good shipmate. So when you see me on a Wednesday at 0900 and 26 Alpha in the hangar, and I say, everybody look left, everybody look right, those are your shipmates. You're going to go to war with them. I don't care if you like them. I don't care if you like anything about them. You will have their backs. That's what good shipmatery is. Getting over all of those personal feelings, intentions, or beliefs and taking care of each other. If we all do that, lights out. Nobody will ever compare. That's all I have, Chief.
That's beautiful. And it was also 52 minutes long.
We can continue.
So we could
glad
probably
I was
cut
less
that
than
up.
52 minutes.
There was a couple things that I've been wanting to. I didn't write anything down. So over the past 52 minutes, I said, this is a good opportunity to ask a question. That's a good opportunity. So I probably lost about 75% of the questions, right? But hey, so you mentioned, Master Chief, in the very beginning, you said that you were, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that you were worried or that you were afraid because a lot of people didn't think like you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the thought process that I believe you're talking about is the shipmatery, the selfless devotion to duty, the opportunity to be in a berthing that's being flooded out and have the opportunity to save people.
How humbling is it for us to be able to wear this uniform, right? How humbling. And if you don't have that feeling when you put it on, then why are you putting on? Is it, I'm going to put food on the table for my kids. I got a house. I got a roof. I got a car. Is that really important? I don't know. I really don't. I've seen a lot in my life, and I truly believe my investment is in trying to, oh God, this sounds so pompous. I just want people to be inspired to be better than what they are today. That's it.
You mentioned that you obviously always weren't Master Chief Kraft, right? You were a knucklehead,
Oh, no.
at least as an E3, right? And below. But you mentioned you brought up Chief Peter Tomage around when you were in E5. So at some point there was a transition for you. There was a transition in the way that you thought, the transition in the way that you processed stuff, a transition in that, correct me if I'm wrong, that humility scale, right? That
Uh,
there
that
was
takes a
certainly a
lot of
transition of,
it definitely takes for somebody like me, it took a life-changing experience. I won't share completely here, but I went from EP to MP back to EP, and there was a reason. It was probably about the
yep,
sixth or seventh time we should have went to mast that I was held accountable differently, and for whatever reason, that time resonated, and it changed me as a man, as a sailor, as a husband, and as a father. It truly changed me. And I was grateful for it. Now I am. Not at the time. I
sure,
wanted to do inappropriate things to the individuals who held me accountable. Do not get
sure,
me wrong. It took me time to process it, and I'm grateful. So grateful.
sure. So I am I like to think that I'm on the same path that however long ago that was, I'm on that same path, maybe, I don't know, 5-10 years behind you. But that was kind of the turning point for me too. It took, I did go to mast, right? It took actually my second non-judicial punishment for me to be held accountable a certain way, a different way. And it took that experience for me to kind of change the way I thought about things. And I got a lot of work to do, I'll be the first to admit I got a lot of work to do, but it's allowed me to have that mindset that I have now. And I know that not everyone gets that opportunity, that humbling experience. And I wonder, because I see it too, Master Chief. We don't all think the same. If we did all think the same, this would be a really boring Navy, right? There'd be no diversity in it, right? So it's fantastic that we are thinking on different parts of the frequency or the spectrum, because that adds to the beauty of this Navy experiment. But I don't know. I think about those sailors who, like you, don't think like me, and I just think it's just not their time, because it took at least 8 years for me to transition my own way of thinking, and so I don't know. Some of us
Some of us are more stubborn and hard-headed than others, and it takes those experiences. And
8,
others,
10, 12
on the
years.
flip side, I will tell you, I have seen people, simple conversation can change their life. And that's what drives me to work every day. I'm telling you, I am inspired by other people's inspiration, motivation, and dedication to assist others. It drives me. I'm just like, I've got nothing left in the tank. And then somebody will walk in my office, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like ready to take it over again because I sucked the energy out of them that they were giving that was so positive, and it makes me happy again. I love it. I love going to work.
And then my last question. So this has to do with, you mentioned something that made me think about how you've been in for longer than me. So you
I
can,
sure hope
so
it wasn't
you're,
like Jackie's at the sink.
so you, hey, so you better, you better to compare today's sailor to your peers when you were E3, E4, E5. Do you think less sailors today have that mindset? We'll just call it that mindset for now, than when you were coming up?
As soon as you said the word mindset, the word resiliency came into my mind, right? And I know it's a buzzword. I don't think sailors from my generation are different than today. Other than I feel like the sailors of today are smarter, more enabled, and ready and willing to do things that I never even imagined. I wanted to get out of New Jersey. I joined the Navy to leave New Jersey. That was it. I didn't want to live with my parents anymore.
Same.
And look where I am, right? Like, wow. And I am so awed and inspired. And I hear people try to caveat or to pigeonhole, it's a different generation and they blah, 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 blah. I really don't buy into it. What I buy into is, what does your give a shitometer say today? And that's where good shipmatery always falls in for me. There are more sailors today than there were in my time growing up that care about each other and take care of each other. Then I get dumbfounded every day. I have the pleasure of being acting CMC this week, and a couple of issues came up with a couple of sailors, and the outpouring of support from friends, shipmates. I'm just like, I want to control the situation. I want to be in charge. I want to give all the orders. And that's what I think about. And then I go, oh my God, it's happening. They're doing it. They're taking care of each other. It's beautiful to behold. And if we can keep doing that, there's no worries. Make your mistakes, learn from them. Beg for forgiveness later. If you work with me, one of my biggest leadership principles beyond good shipmatery is permission to lead. And permission to lead means I expect, let me say that, I expect for you to screw up. And when you screw up, I want you to come talk to me about it. Tell me what you learned. We can have a discussion and move on. Keep going forward. Accountability given. Why? I can't levy accountability on somebody that is able to hold themselves accountable for. Does that make sense? Like, you make your own mistakes, you hold yourself accountable. You came to hold yourself accountable. I just look at you and like, yep, keep going. Bye. Get out. I'll cover it up. Bye. I'll fix it. I love that. That is the greatest pride I have as a Master Chief, is literally fixing a mistake. Isn't that crazy? Like, to say out loud, and what would Pete Tomich say? He was fixing a mistake. They're very different. I don't know if I could ever fix a mistake like he had to live with. But I just love it when my sailors come to me with mistakes. I can't tell you enough. That doesn't mean screw up on purpose. That means just accidentally make mistakes while you're trying to do the right thing. Does that help at all, Chief?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One more question, Master. One more question, Master Chief. Because a lot of us, aren't going to make it to Master Chief. Let's keep it real. Do you still make mistakes?
You just
today?
gotta hang out long enough. They'll all retire.
Do Master Chiefs make mistakes? Do y'all make mistakes? Do you make mistakes?
You have no idea. Some personal stuff about me. Have I made mistakes? I just admitted on video I should have went to mast probably 6-7 times. My first mistake in the Navy, I'll never regret. I've been married to the same woman for 27 years, and I can't blame her. It was definitely my choice but I was UA for a day and a half because of said woman. I'll never take that back. Made me the man, the husband, the father, Master Chief that I am today. Grateful. I'm just more grateful that I had other leaders that understood that I needed to exceed boundaries, make mistakes, learn from them. And from my personal side, I was willing to accept their feedback. It never felt like feedback. It never felt positive. It never felt good. But they mentored me and helped me become a better person. And I get to stand here today and share that. Grateful.
So that question, Master Chief, it was just to go along with the theme of the show is that there's obviously an invisible wall sometimes between senior sailors and junior sailors, and a lot of times junior sailors think they'll never be able to be at the level of a senior sailor, and it's important for us to just remind each other,
just stick around.
Remind whoever's watching, you stick around. We're not that much different. The difference is how long we've been in, the experiences we have, and the fact that we all make mistakes. And the difference is how you bounce back from those mistakes. Can you bounce back? And at the end of the day, we're not that much different. Few years, a few more experiences.
I giggle about it all the time, right? So humility comes down to, you've heard this lesson from me before, Chief Phoebe, presence and relevance. You have to be present. That is the requirement of being a sailor. Being relevant is kind of a choose your own adventure book. How you want to be relevant matters. And I giggle when I walk into my division spaces. These junior sailors, sometimes they're like, Master Chief, are you like hanging out? Well, yeah, I'm a sailor just like you, right? Like, what's different? And, I have to sometimes kind of think, right? Because I still think like I'm 21 years old. And, I'm right back where they were right now. And they're looking at an old man with gray hair, and they're going, what are you even talking about right now? Like, what's an Atari? And I'm just like, shut up. Go back in your corner. There used to be something, when it turned midnight, the TV would play the national anthem, and then it would go to fuzz. And they're like, what? Netflix never turns off. And I'm just like, shut up. But at the same time, their drive, their inspiration, their motivation, their desires, they're no different. And the tools and resources right now, man, if we as leaders just embrace it, could you imagine what we could accomplish? Good shipmatery. That's all that is. I walk in there because I look at them and I'm like, you have not experienced what I have. And, when I didn't see my son walk for the first time, when I didn't see my son talk for the first time, or when I was gone for 30 months out of my first 36 months in DERSA, you may not ever experience that, but it doesn't change the fact that you care and you came to work with a purpose and you need to be a good shipmate. So look left and look right. Look at those shipmates and take care of them the best that you can. And that's all we can ask for.
I think Pet Officer Battaglia might be trying to kick us off.
No,
I'm sure not. He is.
Oh,
okay.
There
was so earlier you were talking about self-sacrifice and humility, and then we'll go into last words. But so it was my first drill as a CSET coordinator for my department, and we had to do an abandoned ship drill with emergency destruction. I misunderstood the directions that I was received, and I did not let my sailors go with their rubber duckies. to their station.
Oh no.
So
God.
essentially, they didn't make it back in
They
time,
ate your
and
face.
basically us three drowned because I didn't do something that I was supposed to do and make sure that they were in the right spot, and they did not have what they had.
Right.
So
Right.
department head walks into the mod, and with my Divo, he's like, "What are you guys still doing here? You're supposed to be on the flight deck. Like, they just got here to get the rubber duckies, sir." And like, you just killed them all. You just killed your sailors. And upstairs, he was doing the after action. I forgot what I said, but he's like, "You need to stop falling on a sword and just learn from your mistakes." And I think I've gotten better at learning from my mistakes because the ship's motto was "Greater each day," and whenever I'm screwing up, greater each day.
There you go. You got to learn from it, right? And it's hard to be humble enough to realize you made mistakes. And I've changed a lot over the years, and now I find myself laughing when I make mistakes. I really do. I laugh, and I'm just like, oh, boy, I screwed that one up pretty bad. And all I do is I just try to diagnose the problem, and I go through it, and I try to learn from it. And you had that opportunity. I think you and I have had a conversation or two in particular.
Couple.
And I just hope you learned from it. That's all that mattered. It wasn't personal. It was completely professional. I want you to be a good shipmate. That's it. Take care of those when you look left and look right. Take care of them.
Exactly. Davis, last words for you.
I really don't have any words. This was like the last episode where like I literally could just sit here and just listen. And y'all know I usually have something to say in every episode, but
that's
past two, like
I don't believe this at all. Davis, you have something to say. You
that's not
rarely
gonna cut it.
free reign to counsel a Master Chief. So permission granted.
I really
counsel
don't have
Master
anything
Chief.
to say.
He's acting CMC. You got a bug. You want to put a bug in his ear while he's acting CMC? He might be able to change something.
No, I really don't have anything to say. Like everything you said, I agree with. And when you see when you actually see higher senior leaderships actually like say those words and stuff, like it just reiterates to junior sailors like they're the same as us and everything. Like we don't have to be scared to approach them and talk to them and stuff like that. Like as long as we get to know each other and everything, like you can go through your day to day without being scared. Like, oh, this person's gonna yell at me or something if you make the tiniest mistake. So everything you said, like I agree. I have my little comments, my yes, I agree and everything. But other than that, I don't really have anything that I disagree with what you said. Because if I did, I'll trust you would hear.
Oh, I'm sure I'd hear it, Davis. I can already hear it in your voice. But you made me think of something, right? Like it's hard sometimes. And I'll leave it with this. Being part of a good shipmate has made me become a chameleon. And what I mean by that is there are days I go to work and I don't want to be there. There are times I hear things or have to do things that I don't want to do. And I want to run away. And I have to be somebody else. There are times I fail and I make mistakes. And I just want to go hide. But at the end of the day, that's not being a good shipmate. So I have to buckle down and realize I'm human. My sailors crack me up in N7. The ones who have been there for a long time, they'll be like, ooh, Master Chief, everything okay? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you're not smiling right now. I'm like, what? They're like, you're always smiling and you're yelling and you're loud and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shit, is that what they expect? I'm like, I'm just at a different point right now, right? I'm not that guy right now. And they expected something different. And that's a key point of leadership. And being a subordinate and being a shipmate. we aren't always 100%. Sometimes we're 20, sometimes we're 100, sometimes we're 50. And if you can recognize that because you've become a good shipmate, you've learned those things about your fellows, embrace it and try to help them as much as you can. Or sometimes I just need 20 minutes. I walk out, I smoke 2 cigarettes, I come back in, I'm great. Sometimes I need 2 days. Oh my God, that was big, right? And it just takes me time to process it and be that person that they expect. But I don't try to meet their expectations. That's weird to say out loud. I just want to be the best shipmate I can be all of the time. And that wavers day to day, hour to hour. Embrace that and you'll be fine.
Chief, last word for you.
Hey, Master Chief, you seen Book of Eli?
Here we go again.
I love that movie. My favorite is the ending.
So Petty Officer Battaglia, Petty Officer Davis had an assignment this week, and that was they basically had 7 days to watch Book of Eli. Did y'all watch it?
I totally forgot all about it because I've been binge watching Grey's Anatomy.
So what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? They're not gonna watch it this entire season, right? But my goal was the very end. My goal with season 2 is the very end of that movie, Book of Eli. So you know what? Don't even watch it. Don't even watch it. But
we can Google it. You know,
Wikipedia.
No, don't do
IMDb.
that. Don't do that. But,
YouTube.
Cliff Notes.
But that's the theme, and they have no idea what I'm talking about.
So. Understand what happens.
I'm gonna have to watch it tonight. I'm gonna have to put it on my list of stuff to watch.
No, we didn't.
I do.
We didn't.
And Chief Phoebe, I'm gonna tell you right now, they need to watch that movie tonight, because in the end, when you finally understand what was the single most important thing, was the one thing that somebody had no vision to understand. Wow. Powerful. That was good. I like that. Good reference.
Other than that, we are super grateful that you came on the show, Master Chief Kraft. We gotta have you on again, as you know, maybe season 3 or whatnot. But hey, thank you so much for taking your time.
No, I loved it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. Stay safe, take care of each other, and you better look left and right when you go to work tomorrow. I'm telling you, I do it every day. And I don't always like the people who are left and right of me. Don't always agree with them. But I knuckle down, right? And we make our way through things. And you're going to go far. That's all that takes. That's all it takes is pressing believe and being a good shipmate.
Thank you for watching this week's episode. Please give us a like and subscribe and hit the notification button so you can catch all our episodes as they're uploaded or when we do it live.
If you would like to be a part of the show and have a topic that you would like covered, please email us at whatthenavy@gmail.com or leave us a comment below. Thank you for watching this episode of What the Navy.